Oh hey, I didn't expect to see you guys here today. Just kidding, of course I did. It's Friday, and that means it's time for another episode of Video Game Hub. As with every week, I am Dave LeClaire, gaming editor for MakeUseOf.com, and I'm here to take you through the top 5 gaming stories of the week. So if you haven't been following the video game news, which you probably haven't because let's face it, a lot of stuff goes down, don't worry about it, because I'll take care of it for you. So let's kick it off with story number 5 right now. Start our 5th story off with a question for you. What happens when a video gets really popular on the internet? And the video happens to be of a game that doesn't actually exist, that's just kind of a map in Unreal 3 engine. What happens is you end up with Goat Simulator. That's right, Goat Simulator is actually going to become a game. The little video that the developers made went viral on the internet. Everybody loved it, thought it was hilarious, and let's face it, it is pretty hilarious. I mean, you run around as a goat knocking stuff over. And now, next thing you know, it's going to be a game, and it's coming. Goat Simulator. Who would have thought? As if it would make sense for it to release on any other day, Goat Simulator is coming April 1st. What's April 1st? April Fool's Day is April 1st, but that is also the day that Goat Simulator is going to be dropping on us. So April 1st, you're gonna get to run around as a goat. If you watch the video, it actually kind of has that Octodad kind of feel where you're running around knocking stuff over, except it's the opposite of Octodad, because in Octodad you were trying to blend in and look normal. In Goat Simulator, you are given points for knocking stuff over. So it's like Octodad turned around with you smashing through as much stuff as you possibly can. It looks dumb. It doesn't necessarily look like it's going to be a really good game, but it definitely looks like it's going to be a fun game, and it definitely looks like something that you're going to want to check out if you're into games that are just really, really dumb and really, really just crazy. So, April 1st, get ready for Goat Simulator. Move over Titanfall, because Goat Simulator's coming for you. While we're on the topic of weird games, let's move on to our 4th story this week. And that is that Shaq Fu is coming back. If you remember, Shaq Fu was a game from the SNES Genesis era, starring Shaquille O'Neal. It was not a particularly great game. It wasn't the worst game on either of those platforms, but it was not very good. But it had a little bit of a cult following just because of how strange it was. I mean, we're talking Shaquille O'Neal in like a beat-em-up game. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it existed. Well, Shaq is actually seeking funding to bring a sequel out through Indiegogo. It has about $50,000. It's a ways off from its goal, but it is working its way up, and it will probably meet the goal just on morbid curiosity from the gaming community overall. There's a video of it, which you can actually see playing right now. It still has 45 days left of its funding period, and it's trying to get to $450,000. So it definitely has a long road ahead of it, but it's got Shaq behind it. He's going to be promoting it everywhere. I'm sure that it will make that goal without a problem. Hell, if it needs to, I'm sure Shaq will just throw down. What's $450,000 when you're Shaq, right? No, I don't know Shaq's financial situation, but seeing as he was one of the highest paid basketball players for a long time, I would venture to assume that he's got some money. So we'll see what happens. This could really be interesting to see if this game can actually get funded and if it's any good. He promises not to F-you it up this time.
This time we won't fool it up.
So hopefully it's actually a good game, because that would just be the ultimate in irony, is if the sequel to Shaq Fu comes along all these years later and it somehow ends up being a competent game. I doubt it will be, but you never know, anything's possible. We're only a few short days away from the release of Titanfall, which brings us to our 3rd story of the week this week, and that is that a member of NeoGAF, Vivek S86, has leaked all 15 maps from their top-down view and little screenshots of them. You can actually see them playing behind me. Let's go ahead and make them full screen so you can really see the maps. Now, we're only a few days away, so we're all gonna see these maps very soon, but it's definitely interesting to kind of get an idea of what the Titanfall maps are gonna be like in terms of scale and size. We saw the 2 maps in the beta. We played them a lot. There was one that was a little bit bigger, one that was a smaller city map, and it looks like the new maps are going to be a good mix of different scales. Obviously, they all have to have wider corridors throughout them for Titans to be able to walk around, because obviously Titans take up more space than a pilot. But the maps definitely look good, but it is a little hard to say quality of map based on some screenshots and a view from above. You definitely need to actually play them to get a feel for how balanced they are and how they feel. But it definitely looked pretty cool, and time will tell. Tuesday's almost here. March 11th is right around the corner, and we will all be playing Titanfall. And we will all know whether or not these maps are actually really good or whether or not they're just fluff and they just happen to look really nice. We'll see. Moving on to our number 2 story this week. A new Batman game is coming in the Arkham series. Batman Arkham Knight. And this, they are promising to be the last game in the Arkham series. Now, Arkham Origins was not particularly well received. A lot of people didn't like it, but one thing to keep in mind, that game was not developed by Rocksteady. That was developed by another developer. This is Rocksteady back. They're the ones who made the first 2 Batman games, the ones that are pretty much considered fantastic by anybody who's played them. So it's coming back. They put out a trailer. It started with a leak on NeoGAF, then they put out a trailer because once it's leaked, it's like whatever, we might as well just announce it. So let's take a look at that trailer, kick back, relax, and enjoy it.
Bruce, I ask that you honor the Wayne family legacy and commit yourself to the improvement of Gotham City, its institutions, and its citizens. Please, be strong. You are young, but destined for great things. Make the most of your opportunities. Use them to give back to a city that has given us so much, to change the lives of millions of people. Do not be frivolous with this wealth. Please do not waste it all on fast cars and outrageous clothes and the pursuit of a destructive lifestyle.
And now it is time to move on to our number 1 story of the week this week. And that is that Sony Computer Entertainment of America CEO Jack Tretton is stepping down. This kind of came out of left field. I don't think anybody saw this coming. PlayStation brand is obviously doing very well. It's outselling the Xbox One by a sizable margin. So it's odd to see the CEO decide to step down. But they are claiming this is a mutual agreement between Sony Computer Entertainment of America, or SCEA, and Jack Tretton. Obviously, the full story has not come out yet. This literally just happened. We just got word of this, so there's still going to be more that's going to come out, but it sounds like it's a mutual agreement and everybody's okay with it. In fact, we have a quote from Jack talking about the situation, and it reads as follows. Working at SCEA for the past 19 years has been the most rewarding experience of my career. Although I will deeply miss the talented team at SCEA and the passion demonstrated every day by our fans, I'm very excited about starting the next chapter of my career. I want to thank the employees, partners, and customers for their timeless commitment to the PlayStation brand, and of course, to our fans who have pushed us to new heights of innovation and entertainment over the past 2 decades. I leave PlayStation in a position of considerable strength, and the future will only get brighter for PlayStation Nation. So it definitely sounds like Jack is positive on the move going forward. We will see how it affects Sony down the long run. They have announced that Sean Layden will take over, who was the COO of the company. He will now be CEO. So it's already, they have an executive who is high up moving in to take things over. So it shouldn't be too much of a dramatic shift for Sony and the PlayStation brand overall. But time will tell how this affects them, if there's any decisions that made that we'll hear gamers complaining, well, Jack Tretton would have never done that. We'll see, but it's definitely a big deal to have a CEO of a company like Sony step down only months after they just launched a new console, which is so far proving to be a very successful console. And we'll just have to wait and see how this affects the gaming world going forward. Unfortunately, this episode of Video Game Hub is officially over. I appreciate you very much taking the time to hang out and watch the show with me. I hope it's been as enjoyable for you as it has been for me. Make sure to click the subscribe button right over here so that you never miss another episode of Video Game Hub and all the other content that we bring you over here at MakeUseOf. We have video product reviews, which we give away the products. We have all kinds of how-to videos. I even do some Let's Play type videos of games so you can check out what I'm doing. We do all kinds of stuff, so definitely click that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss out. As always, thank you to DJ Cutman for providing the music for this episode, and thank you to you for watching, and we will see you next week.